I'll start with my first favorite question. I've asked this multiple times. What's the bonhomie between Islamists and communists? I've never understood this. And is it only an India phenomenon, or is it also seen outside of India?
It's seen outside. It's global, I should say, because there is a favorite phrase that saying that Islamists and leftists are bedtime partners. In the sense, even if you see in international fora, most of the times you find Islamist objectives are taken to very sympathetically, or they are heard sympathetically, and other or the alternative things are undermined. There is a lot to do with this. I think one is to do with their see, when it comes to India, examining under India's scenario, Islamists always had that kind of an anger towards India since partition dynasty. It rather to say it's not anti-establishment, it's again to say anti-India, because it's not specific to only one kind of a leadership ruling or against the government. So there have been some negative feelings right from the beginning, and then they are slowly gaining ground. So that is one aspect. And another thing which is they have ample funds, or the Petro-Dollars. And another thing is so to say, they have even the radical ideology, okay, which together make them what do you say, feel alienated, or they want to there's a number of aspects to it to say that leftists find some kind of a congruence, or they have the same kind of objectives as Islamists in number of ways. See, they are basically they are anti-Indian forces. So anti-Indian forces always try to join hands. Okay, they want to what do you say? Come together for which are both of them have their same interests. See, I'll just tell you one example to this. Umar Khalid is close associate of Hem Mishra. Hem Mishra has been trusted courier of GN Sai Baba. Okay, and Umar Khalid is JEM sympathizer. He is known to be a JEM sympathizer. They have been there has been a friendship between both of them. They work on their common agenda, burying their differences.
When you ask why the bonhomie, if you trace it historically, it goes back to Stalin first giving a call, saying that the aims of ours and the Islamic population is one and the same. He gave that call. No communist would dare oppose it, that. That's, the history goes to that. Please, if anyone is interested, they can trace that. I have asked this to communists that, why you have, and he says that it comes from our God. Basically, it's that. There is no other reason, right? After there have been many differences, but ideologically, Stalin saw that if he were to say that they are same, it will help Soviet Union to expand into Middle East. So it goes, it comes from that. Nobody has challenged it so far. Right. In communism, you don't challenge. You accept what comes from Marx, Lenin, and Stalin, and Mao, right? Even though, the last one is very different. But that is why it continues. The bonhomie will continue for this reason itself, until someone challenges Stalin's ideology.
Even all the academic institutes across the world are soft towards Islamists. All of them.
So for the communists and Islamists are concerned, there is a basic line, one. And the basic line is change the form of governance. You have to overthrow the present government, whatever it is, and replace it for the communists by the communist ideology, for the Islamists by their ideology. So both of them have the same basic line. That is overthrow of the existing governance systems and replace it what they claim is the best. And for this purpose, they are willing to adjust and sit with each other and undertake whatever are the options available to ensure that the governments of the day, especially democratic governments, are overthrown. Thank you.
Just to add a point to this, one of the elite terrorists who was arrested has revealed that they are in talks with Naxals to cooperate to collaborate in their activities in Jharkhand. So that is the kind of bonhomie that exists between these two.
India specifically is one more reason is that India being a soft state. So the bonhomie has one more reason.
In fact, we can add another. Poverty is the main thing. You see, the Muslims over here in India, the communists in India or even China, whatever, that they are both in poverty range. So they are like, this is why again I said the anti-establishment, whatever. So even in the other side, like Arabia side, only the Yemen, which is in comparison to Saudi Arabia, they have all the sheikhs and all that. They cannot be communist. Yemeni people are not very moneyed people, so they are mostly like communist or leftist. So I think poverty is also one of the reasons. This Charu Majumdar, I think he started this the Naxalite movement. That was out of the poverty of the peasants, farmers. So I just wanted to ask you another thing. The Charu Majumdar, he was a urban Naxalite, or he was out of the
See, most of the people who were inspired by this ideology have been people or well-read individuals who were who have romanticized this utopian ideology. But so to say that this is actually an urban not Naxalism, I should say. It has been an urban phenomena, and slowly it has infiltrated or moved into rural areas so that they escape that kind of scrutiny which is there in urban areas. Like when you enter into jungles, it is very difficult to catch or trap a person what he or she is doing. But when you are in urban areas, they say that urban areas are the centers of enemies. So in enemy operating zones, they may not be conducive for these people with this kind of ideology. So to bolster that ideology or their ultimate objective of armed struggle, they have to move into interiors or the hinterlands. So
we have to understand the little bit of the past history of the agrarian movements in our country. The zamindari system which existed and which still exists to a great in many parts of the country even today, especially in Bengal, the zamindari system was very, very strong. And even after the zamindari system was abolished, it was found this Tibaga and Chaubaga, you must have heard about it. How the zamindars used to, the sharecropper had no authority or anything over the land. He would be there for 2 generations, 3 generations and still have nothing to call his own. And this was an ideal ground for the Naxalites to say that you are tilling the land, this chap is sucking your blood, you better do away with him. And we know that many hundreds of zamindars were killed in Andhra Pradesh, in
Chhattisgarh,
Chhattisgarh,
Jharkhand, Bihar,
yes.
West Bengal.
So this is basically an agrarian problem, and the problem has still not been sorted out completely. And in the absence of development, it continues. It's only now the last few years
Yes.
that we have started even laying roads. And so long as the agrarian population is not sorted out, we'll continue to have the Naxalite problem. And there are always people who will take advantage of it.
Exactly.
That's it.
But you know, it's very interesting that in Pakistan, this zamindari system is all over the land. But there the leftist movement has not even taken the birth. Zamindaris is all over Pakistan. And it's very interesting.
In the Hindu charter that we are working on, the second point is banning of FCRA.
Yes.
So, one of the points was that there were some 45,000 organizations before the current regime came in, and which is now down to about 22,000.
22,000.
But only the defunct organizations have gone,
Yes.
right? Only ones they were not filing. So there is really no fall in funding, or it's not that they've gone after funding all the organizations like PUCL and all the others that you mentioned.
Not that.
The funding has increased. Every year it has gone up by a couple of thousand crores.
No. Now rather to say that the funding is coming under scrutiny. Like there is kind of an accountability. Like you have to account for funds what you have received and things like that. Earlier it used to be a different case. So now they are feeling the heat of it exactly. So that is one reason. Like Indira Jaisingh, she used to get funds from even Ford Foundation, and she and Anand Grover, they have an NGO called Lawyers Collective. This in 2016 November, I think she has received a notice from government saying that your NGO is suspended, and ever since she has been really very vocal against the government. This Anand Grover is the one who has like knocked doors of Supreme Court in the midnight for Yaqub Memon hanging. So these are the kinds of connects they have. Like these people are really so smart that they can explore all the kinds of loopholes which are there, because they have been, and this ideology has been like really imbibed by the people who are like well placed, they are well read and know the nitty-gritties of law, and legal activism has been the forefront of this cabal, or the biggest asset of this cabal. So that is how they have been pushing around.
Even for UPSC exam, among the recommended newspaper and magazine, EPW and Hindu. So
yeah, that's what
very sad.
like very.
Ah.
So see,
That's how the
the
communist
alternative
dominating
narratives
the-
are so to say that we have so many economic policies by the right wingers, but none of them have been ever acknowledged, like Shania or PC Mahalanobis or Jagdish Bhagwat. None of these people's economic policies were never appreciated in India. So that is the kind, like for all these years, all those things, all those narratives or ideologies which are different to their leftist ideologies have been like really trampled.
A quotation that I read on the internet by some American politician that American people will never really accept socialism or communism willingly, but under the name of liberalism, socialist ideas will be implemented in American policies day after day, bit by bit, until one day America will become a communist country and nobody will realize how it became so. So my question is that with the amount of influence that these leftists have over the academia and the media and all sorts of institutions, including the judiciary everywhere, and not just in India, but in UK, US, everywhere.
Yes.
So has communism won the Cold War? Have they won the Cold War?
No, it's been a spent force. Now nobody like subscribes to communism.
But in the media and so many institutions,
But
so many
in the
people-
media, it is there. See, there is a rise of right wingers across Europe in almost all the countries.
especially Hungary.
Hungary, Germany is now Angela Merkel is being meant. Her
The inflow of so many migrants.
No, the fact that
See-
Trump has come, it was a clear demarcation that the
People
way of the liberals is under question.
see, the utopian ideology has was like caught like a fire, or like inspired these people who thought like equality is something which is like really the best goal to be achieved. But when you come to reality, you realize that you can never have that kind of an equality what is being like postulated. It is very difficult. So when you come to things, when you examine the practical realities are something really very different from what the ideology expounds. So that is the difference. It is the link between the practical implementation and conceiving an idea. The ideology as such is really very good, fascinating. But how far is it applicable to the real lives or real life situations is the question.
But even if you are not politically that influential, and if you are spread in so many institutions, you have so many minds in your grasp communist ideology. I mean, that is itself a victory for them.
So to say that, what I am saying is like it has been popular among the people who are highly read. Even Harvard University is considered to be hub of leftists. Okay, so these kind of things or the nuances in presenting an aspect has been like they have mastered this kind of a communication in this kind of a communication. So they are able to indoctrinate. Even you can see that since 2014 there has been like a small wave which is there in which is across social media, either in Facebook or Twitter, constantly barraging you with things like, is your religion being scientific? Continuously pounding you with the questions like, what do you get out of your religion? Do you subscribe to this? And constantly highlighting the kind of bad things in your religion specifically. What is it all about? So it is like a kind of a phenomena which they have been trying to push, and it is for us to be on guard and to constantly ask ourselves like what is there, or the better way would be to knowing more about our roots when it comes to like our religion. Especially the Hindu bashing has become a fashionable thing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that because, I mean, a lot of people, like, for example, recently I was speaking to my own parents for that matter. We had visited Haridwar and the roads were terrible, completely horrifyingly terrible. No, so the point is that I think we have to combine the old and the new somehow. Not just an Indic narrative, but there has to be somewhere, there has to be an emphasis on development, but also recognizing that we've had a past. You know, there's some tradition that existed, but also acknowledging that there were corruptions in the traditions, which, I mean, any hierarchical system or traditional system over time gets corrupted. I mean, that's a fact. Any bureaucracy, any level of people, if you put more than 5 people in any place, it gets corrupted. So I think the narrative should be more about combining the good in the past and also accepting changes, the new, so-called new gods of today. So technology, development, all those things. So somewhere we need a syncretic message rather than a...
Why is Indic narrative not developing?
No, I'm saying it has to be more of both instead of more of just one.
See,
Exactly that. So yeah, it has to be, yeah, exactly. Somewhere, yeah, I guess somewhere when we, my point being that somewhere when we push only the Indian narrative, people think it's not development oriented. That's what I'm saying, I guess.
See, it
No,
is
but
the,
what they think is important, because other than that, it doesn't really make an impact. The message doesn't really make an impact. I mean, I was debating my own parents, yes, and it was difficult to convince them with, let's say, just arguments about our Indic culture. That's about it. That's what I'm saying. But when I came to other arguments, it was a little better. That's what I'm saying. That's all.
see, my way of, let me put it this way. Do you think that a CEO of a startup company or like a startup space institute shouldn't go to a temple or chant his prayers or read Bhagavad Gita or know more about our Upanishads or Vedas? So no. What I'm saying is, what I mean to say is, it's like part of, it's our way of life. So what I'm saying is, like, just we have to make it part of our lives, not going back to narratives in the sense, like, not completely like burying ourselves in that. It's not that. We should be leading our lives, but we should be knowing what is it and making it a part of our lives. Then both of them can exist in synchrony.